Today we're taking this Google Pixel and we're going to be restoring GrapheneOS to it. Now if you haven't heard of GrapheneOS, it's a security and privacy focused operating system that works to make sure that you have complete control of your device. Not Google, not Samsung, not the rest of these guys. Now, it does only work on Google Pixel devices as of the time of this recording, and it only works on certain Pixel devices. And so we can actually look on their website, and we'll see some of the requirements for which devices. It's very well documented. They do a fantastic job with this project here. But essentially, if you want to make sure that your device is completely in your control as much as it possibly can be, other than maybe the cell baseband modem, certain things like that, of course, it's entirely within your control. And this doesn't mean that you cannot run Google services on it. Some people want those services, but they also want to be able to segment Sandbox and avoid Google from being able to use their location, for example, or they don't want them to have access to the microphone or the camera, etc. And we can also segment and make sure that applications don't have network permissions. And you have a lot more control with this ROM than you do any other Android device out there. So other videos explaining the pros and cons of this system. Let's get into this installation here. So we'll go to GrapheneOS.org and we can say install GrapheneOS here. I am running a MacBook Pro and Google Chrome for this project. I don't use Google Chrome for anything, but in this instance, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll select the USB-based installer, and then we can see all sorts of information. If you have any questions or you have any issues with this install, likely the documentation will answer it for you right here. And so you have some prerequisites. You do have to run one of these operating systems, so anything from Windows 10 to Mac OS to Ubuntu will run this. And one really interesting thing is we can run GrapheneOS to install GrapheneOS on another device. OEM unlocking does need to be enabled. Now I'm running Android 14 on this guy just for fun. I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to go to about and all the way down to build number, and I'm going to tap that a bunch of times. And I am now a developer. Usually it's going to have you enter a passcode. That does change, so read the documentation here. I'm going to go to system options here. I'm going to go to developer options. And then within this, we want to make sure that OEM unlocking is enabled. If it's not, we're going to have a bad time. Next off, we want to go ahead and shut this guy down. So I'll say power off, and then we want to go to the bootloader interface. The way we do that is the power button and the volume down button. So go ahead and press and hold those for 3 seconds. 3, and there we are. So we've got the fast boot mode there, and plug in. This is a regular USB-C data cable that I use for external drives. There we are, and let's unlock bootloader. Okay, and then on the device itself, we can see the command has been sent. It says do not unlock the bootloader. I'm just gonna press the volume up or down, and then it says unlock the bootloader, and then press the power button there. Give it a second, it's gonna restart. There we go, and let's go ahead and we're gonna download the factory release here. And there we are. That'll take just a second. Now, because I'm in a remote area using cellular internet, this is going to take a few minutes, but we'll go ahead and check back in when this is done. Perfect. All right, we've gone ahead and downloaded that, and let's go ahead and flash the release. This usually takes a few minutes to do. It's really not long at all. You'll see your device reboot a few times. It's very straightforward. The nice thing about this, though, is if for some reason something fails, just unplug, restart, do everything again, off you go. And while you can still use the command line interface in order to flash everything over and control everything, there's nothing wrong with that. I will say, having done that in the past and used this system, it's night and day. You can't get a syntax error here, right? It's kind of hard to press the button wrong. So yeah, this is fantastic. We'll give this a few seconds. And that took less time than I expected. And you can actually see this is the latest 2026 April 3rd Komodo flash. So let's go ahead and we'll lock the bootloader here, and we get the same thing, right? So do we want to lock the bootloader? We'll hit the down button, lock there, power button will reboot, and then we're good to go. And at this point, we can go ahead and unplug that, and we're good to go. We don't need to use our computer anymore, but there's a couple things that you'll note here. So they do give you some suggestions. I'll go ahead and hit start. They'll give you some suggestions. So we want to disable OEM unlocking by default on this. So we go ahead and lock that back down, and then we can verify the install if we want to. They give you a hash and all that good stuff. There's a hardware-based attestation, and let's go through the setup here. One thing you might notice here is that we do have a Google logo. That's just something that's baked into the firmware of the chipset. That's not actually running Google if you don't want to be. You can see the GrapheneOS logo there. So we'll give this just a few more moments. But while we're waiting for this to boot up and set up, it doesn't really take long at all. There's quite a few really cool tricks and features in here. Over the years that I've been using this, I've actually never had a problem, especially because they have a Google Play layer. So you might find that with like Microsoft apps, certain banking apps, you are going to need Google on this device. That's not an issue anymore. They've actually fixed that. And even cooler is that they added Android Auto if you want it. So I like using Android Auto. I like to have my Spotify on there. I do want to have Google Maps, but the thing that gives me peace of mind is that Google is an app. Google is not embedded deep into the operating system where you don't know that when Google Maps turns off, Google Maps is actually off. It gives you that peace of mind that Google Maps is not continuing to track you long after you've shut that app off, which is a really nice thing. So sometimes we don't mind giving up certain information in order to receive benefit. A lot of our issue comes in when we don't want to be giving that information and they're still sucking that data from us, which is one of those things. So welcome to GrapheneOS, and one thing you'll notice is that they don't ask you to sign into all this crap by default. So let's go ahead and set up without Wi-Fi. We are in Mountain Standard Time here. Next, use location, and you'll notice there's a couple of different options in here, including network location. So I'm actually going to enable that, and I'll tell you why. Is Wi-Fi scanning always available? So we want to turn that off. Enable geodecoder to allow apps to use a network-based service hosted by GrapheneOS to convert between coordinates and human-readable addresses. Some apps need this for critical functionality. Most of these are off by default. I'll leave that off, but we can always go back in and turn these on at any time. I can go ahead and set a pin. Fingerprint works beautifully on this. Tap to set this guy up here. It's just like any other Pixel device. Now the Pixel 9 Pro has been fantastic for me. Now I'm going to actually add another one right here. The one thing to know about this, of course, is that biometrics present a potential security issue or a privacy issue, where, especially when you're traveling and things like that, a judge may not be able to get your PIN from you. They could require your biometrics and your thumbprint as a result. All right, security preview, restore. I'm not going to restore, but you can actually do that at any time. I have had a backup of this. We'll skip that. And take a look at that. Right on that screen there, it goes, do you want to disable OEM unlocking? That's fantastic. I don't have to go to the menu. I'll say start. So we will disable OEM unlocking, and there we go. And one thing you'll notice is that there's a kind of a different ethos with this operating system, that while the rest of, the interface looks like Android, because it is, it's running the Linux kernel, Unix kernel here. One thing that's really nice is that by default, they're not packing you with a bunch of wallpapers. They're not trying to make this phone the most enticing thing to use. And they know that you might want that, but they are not shoving it down your throat. We also don't have a ton of apps, right? We have some very basic apps, and it's super, super simple to get this guy set up. So for example, if we go to the App Store, we have the camera. There is a camera installed, but it is not the same quality as the Gcam. But we can install the Google camera, right? So here's Android Auto right here. I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and select install. But one really, really important distinction is that this operating system will ask you for every single connection. Do you want network access for that? Do you want to allow sensors? In a lot of cases, we don't. Now, what you'll see as well, this guy will install the Google Play Store and the Google Play services. But again, we can sandbox some of those, and sometimes it will break functionality, sometimes it won't. But you can always go back in and toggle things. And there we go. So install this app. Do we want to give Google Play Services network permission? I'm going to say yes for this instance. And Android Auto, yes. And the Google Play Store, in this instance, yes. Now there's also the thermometer app. When the phone first came out, this app did not work. I'm going to go ahead and say install. So this is a really, really nice thing. And this is the coolest part about this phone, in my opinion. A little trick that people don't ever know about is the fact that there's an infrared thermometer right on the back there. And I use this for a lot of videos on my other channel. This is a really quite a nice thing there. And then we'll say yes, install this app. And I like that it asks every time. It's not pushy, it's not forcing anything. That's quite nice. And one thing I really like to do is use free and open source software when possible. And one way to do that is to use, I'm going to go to F-Droid and download that. And then I can download something called a Aurora Store. We have F-Droid here. I'll go ahead and say download F-Droid. Save it to my downloads. We'll say download there. Give this just a second. I'll select open, and then it's not currently allowed to install apps from the Vanadium Chromium app here. So I'll go ahead and say yes, and then I do want to allow permissions here. We'll give that just a second. And what this does is it gives me certain things that I won't get in the Google Play Store, or I'm going to install Aurora so that there's a little bit of privacy there. So we'll say open. But this is really interesting. And you'll notice at the top, we need to keep Android open. Definitely do a little bit of research on that. It's a very interesting topic. But in this case, let's say allow, whatever. Compass. I really like this compass. It's a very nice compass. There's no ads. And we'll say yes, allow that, and install. It also doesn't require network permissions, which is a really nice thing. I don't understand why a Compass app would require network permissions other than perhaps for ads, which I don't want any of that. And how do they get you those ads and specify them to you? of course, they track you. And if I go ahead and go to app info here, it does have access to those sensors, like gyroscopic data, for example, but it doesn't have access to my location. Now, back to F-Droid, we also have the Aurora store. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. So essentially, if you don't want to use the official Google Play Store, we can go ahead and use Aurora. You don't have to by any means, but I will. So I'll go ahead and say install here. One thing that I really like, though, is that it'll tell you, hey, there are some anti-features. So depends on the Google Play Store servers. You kind of expect that, of course. And let's just go ahead and open. Now, it does have to request storage access, which I really think is kind of cool, because you don't get this on a typical Android device. So let's go ahead and allow in settings to manage all files. So we can say you can get all files, or we can set up storage scopes here. And what a storage scope is essentially I can say, this app, for example, or let's say I'm using a Photos. I like the editing functionality in Google Photos, but I don't want it to have access to my screenshots, just in case it gets a little, hanky. We can go ahead and say you can only access my Pictures folder and my DCIM folder, which is a really nice thing. So I'm not going to enable that for this, but we could do that. And then we can enable background downloads and all that good stuff. So finish. And then I'm just going to log in anonymously. I don't want that to use my Google ID in order to, run a session here. So let's go ahead, and I want to download the Futo keyboard because I think it's a wonderful keyboard. It's genuinely just awesome. So we'll go ahead and install. One thing you notice about Futo keyboard, does not require network permissions. It doesn't really require much at all. It's very customizable, so that's a wonderful thing. And let's go to Google Camera, Pixel Camera right there, and install. And then we'll download the Brave browser here. I just like to use that. You can also use Vanadium. There's nothing wrong with that, but I really like the Brave browser. And what I do for a lot of banking apps, which is not to say that you can't use, like Bank of America, for example. Let's see, yeah, Bank of America. Let's go there and open. Install. I just want to see how that performs. You can use a lot of banking apps, but for my banking, I have multiple banks. What I like to do is actually just run everything in the web browser. So I'll actually set a shortcut. I suppose it acts as like a web app. The vast majority of things that we want to do on this device, we can run that just usually in a web browser. The apps sometimes are, there's some functionality with some of them, but even Lyft, as far as I know, Lyft will work in a web browser as well, which is kind of a, an interesting thing. But now I don't have to worry about, hey, what is that app doing on my device? It's just in the web browser. The website's not going to get more information than I'm allowed. Now, the way that you run your device, of course, depends on your threat profile and your acceptable limits and what risks you're willing to take. For me, I'm willing to use some services, but I want to use them when I want to use them, right? I want to know how they got that information when they're running an ad on me, and I'd like to be sure that they're not listening when they're not allowed to. And this is interesting. We can actually see camera wanted network permissions. There's no way in hell. But the way it's explained with Google Play services here on GrapheneOS's website is, since the Google Play apps are simply regular apps on GrapheneOS, you install them within a specific user or work profile, and we'll talk about that. And they're only available within that profile. Only apps within the same profile can use it, and they need to explicitly choose to use it. This works the same way as any other app and has no special capabilities. Now that's massive, because with an iOS device, right, an iPhone, an iPad, whatever, you don't have the option. You are running Apple's services, you're running telemetry, things like that, whether you want to or not. With a typical Android ROM, you are running telemetry whether you want to or not. And it's just something that I don't accept as a risk for me. I'm not comfortable with that. You might be, though. And that's why everybody gets to pick and choose. And if we want to, for example, we can go here and we can choose Google Gemini, right? Or for me, I don't actually run the ChatGPT app. I run that in the browser as well, and I just have a shortcut. But what you'll find, let's go ahead and go to the Brave browser here. I am going to choose to make it default, and maybe later, and I am not going to send diagnostics, although I support the project entirely. But we can go to, for example, freecampsites.net. This is my favorite one. They don't have an app. We'll go in here and say GPS, and I want to give it real time, pre-cache these, and then keep these filters on. And so we'll give it just a second. And we can actually go to app info here. I'm going to go ahead and give it location access while using the app, or I can even ask every time, why not, right? And then we can say, no, you don't get microphone, you don't get music, etc. And there we go. And we'll go back to the Brave browser, and I'm going to go on here, and I'm going to go to add to home screen. And so I can say install this, and then add to home screen. And instead of having an app, we've got free camping right here. So I've got to move that over to my main screen. And that's all there is to it. Now, every time I go in there, it acts like an app. There's really no difference. And things like Spotify. I like Spotify. You can do what you like and install. And then we also might use Google Maps. Now the reason I use Google Maps, and you can use Open Maps, and there's all sorts of great tools out there that are open source. There's nothing at all wrong with that. But just to show you that you can run these apps pretty simply, and a lot of folks like Google Maps. I use it because I pin all of my locations, and I've yet to go ahead and move everything over. But you don't necessarily have to by any means. And I'm also going to go into Futo Keyboard. Yep, open input methods. We want to enable that. Okay. Switch input methods over to Futo Keyboard. And let's see, keyboards and typing. And we've got a lot of options in here. I don't like the suggestions bar, but you can do that. Swiping, all that's good. Okay. We'll turn that off. And theme, and we will go dynamic auto. There we go. Okay. All right, and then we will install the app. Yes. Okay, perfect. Give it some permissions. This is straightforward stuff. This is a test of how well the Futo Keyboard dictation works. Ah, it got Pluto wrong. All right, and let's go into Maps here. And skip. And there we are. We'll give it location permissions while using the app only. And it works exactly as I would expect. And if we wanted to drive to New York, there we go. I could get directions from my location. And there we are. And I can also then say avoid tolls and avoid ferries. Give it a moment. And there you are. It also gives you the turn by turn. And like I said, Android Auto works beautifully on this device. I mean, you would not know the difference at all. All right, now Gemini does require I sign in. I'm not gonna do that right now, but let's check out the Google camera. So do I want it to allow to take photos? Yes. Do I want it to use my location? This one's completely up to you. I will say yes. Do I want it to record audio? Yes. Do I want to allow limited access? Set up storage scopes, but we'll give it those permissions and then we'll say done. And let's see, so we can see out here, I mean, these are fantastic. We'll go ahead and do all that. So this software is a high quality software. There's all the computational stuff, night sight, panorama, all that good stuff. So you can see, for example, there we are. I'm terrible at this, and move, etc. But if we wanted to open those photos, we would have to download the Google Photos app. You can see that. I'm not going to do that yet. We can actually use the Gallery app here. We'll go to Gallery, Camera, and while we won't have the same editing functionality, we can see there's our panorama there. And then there's a single photo that we took. So that works fantastic. And then if you install the Google Photos, if you wanted the editing functionality, there you go. You can do that. You can choose to prevent the network access. It's not really something that I entirely trust, but it's completely up to you, of course, if you do. So you can see that those functions work. GrapheneOS.org/features also has, I mean, they have a long list like we talked about. One thing that I really like is the Wi-Fi privacy. GrapheneOS does support per network MAC randomization, so that's really important. There is opt-in features for using assisted GPS, which is using cellular triangulation instead of just line of sight to satellite, but they are privatizing that, randomizing things. There are so many little things, including private screenshots or removing metadata. You can see that GrapheneOS, they have their own servers that they're running instead of relying on Google or Android, and they're not selling that data. How do they get their money? They're donation-based. It's a lot easier to trust that. They have pin scrambling, they have longer passwords, they have auto reboot options. It is one of those things that if this device gets into the wrong hands, you can trust that the device itself is extremely secure. You can do things like back up this device to an external hard drive. You can use a little SSD or something to that effect, which is what I do. I don't use the Google Cloud service or anything like that. I have no need, especially if I have my own, server, little laptop here. Why wouldn't I use that, right? All in all, installing GrapheneOS is fantastically easy. I mean, it could not be easier. Using it is also, if you're familiar with Android already, you will not have a bad time here. The only thing you'll really experience is a little bit more peace of mind if you've ever been worried, like, hey, is that app listening? Is the website tracking me and I don't want it to? Hey, do I have full functionality? Hey, I want to use an app like Compass, but not give it network access. I want to use Gas Buddy, for example, and I want to manually use it, but I don't want it to be able to call out when I don't want it to call out, or location services and this and that. You get to pick your profile, you get to pick your settings, you get to pick everything and what you are comfortable with this. And really, even if you don't use it because you're worried about privacy, which a lot of us are, let's be real, a lot of us are worried about privacy. If nothing else, it just gives you more control and it makes sure that your device stays yours. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.